I know zombie movies are everywhere. We've seen slow zombies, fast zombies, smart zombies, stupid zombies, hell. We've even seen zombie comedies at this point. But there is one scene, one singular sequence in modern cinema that literally changed the game for what a zombie action scene could be. And I am talking about the fall of Jerusalem in World War Z. Because what happens in that 10-minute stretch of film isn't just good action filmmaking, it is a technical, creative, and visceral achievement that literally no other zombie movie has matched before or since. And I'd argue that no other zombie movie ever will. Let me paint you the picture. The setup is deceptively simple. Brad Pitt's character, Jerry Lane, arrives in Jerusalem, the only city in the entire world that managed to prepare for the zombie outbreak. While the rest of humanity crumbled, Israel intercepted some communications from India about zombies and actually took it seriously. The Mossad invoked something called the 10th man doctrine. Basically, if 9 people agree on something, the 10th person is obligated to disagree and explore the opposite possibility. So they built a massive wall. Not just any wall, we're talking about a structure that makes the walls in Attack on Titan look like a backyard fence. And for a moment, it is working. Jerusalem has become this beacon of hope in the apocalypse. They're processing refugees through these gates they literally call salvation gates. There is this incredible sweeping shot where you see the walled up city, the masses of people streaming in, Jews and Palestinians, and everyone in between seeking shelter. It is this brief, beautiful moment of humanity coming together when everything else has fallen apart. But here is where World War Z does something that still gives me chills every time I watch it. The refugees start celebrating. They're singing together, Muslims, Jews, Christians, everyone just grateful to be alive, and the singing gets louder. More people join in. Someone grabs a microphone to amplify it because why not? They're safe, right? The wall is impenetrable, right? In World War Z's universe, zombies are attracted to sound, and all that noise, all that joyful celebration. It is like ringing a dinner bell for hundreds of thousands of undead, and this is where the scene goes from pretty intense to holy shit. Did they actually just do that? The zombies outside the wall start pressing against it, not attacking it, mind you, just accumulating more and more of them drawn by the sound. And this is the stroke of genius that sets this scene apart from literally every other zombie movie, they start climbing on top of each other. Not strategically, not with any intelligence or planning. They're just mindlessly scrambling over one another, creating this writhing, seething pyramid of undead bodies that grows taller and taller. It is like watching ants or bees or some kind of hive organism, except each individual piece is a former human being with zero self-preservation instinct, willing to be crushed and trampled by thousands of others just to reach the source of that sound. The technical achievement here is absolutely insane. MPC, the visual effects company behind this, created something unprecedented. We're talking about shots with up to 250,000 individual zombies, not copy-pasted sprites, not simple crowd duplication, each one with its own movement patterns, its own textures, its own place in this horrifying organic structure. They built 24 different body types with different skin textures, created 3,000 different wardrobe combinations that could be mixed and matched. The team motion captured actual people. And here is a detail I love. They didn't just use stunt performers. They brought in ballet dancers, performance artists, experimental dancers who could move their bodies in these unnaturally fluid, disturbing ways. For the pyramid climbing sequences specifically, they used a hybrid approach. They'd start with geometry blocking to figure out the basic shape and flow, then populate it with their proprietary crowd system called Alice. But here is the kicker. In a normal crowd simulation, you program the agents to avoid each other. That is how you prevent clipping and interpenetration. But for this, they had to do the opposite. These zombies needed to be folding over each other, crawling across each other's backs, using each other's bodies as literal stepping stones. They had to write custom scripts to manage the collisions while still making it look organic rather than mechanical. And it is not just background stuff either. For the zombies that come close to camera, the ones falling off the wall, landing, scrambling back up, they promoted those from the crowd system to full hand animation. They used their in-house rigid body solver called Poppy, based on the Havok physics engine, to make the falling and landing look realistic. Because here is the thing about these zombies, they don't care about self-preservation. They're throwing themselves off a 70-foot wall. Many of them are breaking bones on impact, but they don't feel pain. So they just keep going with fractured limbs and shattered spines, dragging themselves forward. The lighting team had to figure out how to render crowds of 250,000 zombies in single shots. Let me repeat that because it is bonkers. 250,000 individual animated characters, all with cloth simulation, all with proper physics, all being lit and rendered in the same frame. This was in 2013. Remember, before the massive advancements in GPU rendering, before modern real-time engines made this kind of thing more feasible. They were doing this in Maya and RenderMan, pushing the technology to its absolute bleeding edge. But the technical wizardry would mean nothing if the scene didn't work emotionally and narratively. And God does it work. Because what makes this scene truly devastating is the irony. Jerusalem fell not because of military failure, not because of inadequate defenses, but because of hope, because of celebration, because people dared to believe they might actually survive this. That moment of singing together, of putting aside ancient conflicts and just being human beings grateful to be alive, that is what dooms them. It is this gut-wrenching subversion, where the very thing that makes us human, that capacity for joy and community, becomes the thing that destroys us. And once the wall is breached, the scene shifts into this beautifully choreographed chaos. The Israeli Defense Forces are trying to gun down the zombies as they pour over the wall, but it is useless. For everyone they kill, 10 more are flooding in. The streets that were safe moments ago become killing floors. The camera work goes handheld and frantic, giving you this ground-level perspective of the panic. You see soldiers being overrun. You see refugees who just made it to safety getting infected. You see the city descending into absolute pandemonium in a matter of minutes. Jerry and this Israeli soldier named Sejan are trying to reach an evacuation plane. They're sprinting through streets, clogged with the infected, dodging attacks, watching the city fall apart in real time. Sejan gets bitten on the hand, and in one of the movie's most brutal moments, Jerry immediately without hesitation cuts off her hand with a knife. It is not even a question. There is no dramatic pause, no agonizing decision. He just does it because in this world, if you hesitate for even a second, you die. Or worse, you become one of them. But here is why I think this scene will remain forever the best zombie action sequence. It is not just about the spectacle. Don't get me wrong, the spectacle is breathtaking. The image of that zombie pyramid, this writhing mass of bodies climbing a 70-foot wall like a living organism, is instantly iconic. It is the kind of shot that defines a movie, that you see in every trailer and poster, that gets burned into your brain the first time you see it. But spectacle without substance fades. What gives this scene its staying power is how it functions on multiple levels simultaneously. On a pure action level, it is relentless. From the moment the first zombie crests that wall to the moment Jerry and Segan escape on the plane, it is maybe 8 to 10 minutes of sustained escalating tension. The pacing is immaculate. It gives you just enough breathing room to process what is happening before hitting you with the next wave of chaos. On a horror level, it taps into something primal. The image of those zombies climbing over each other is disturbing in a way that slow shambling corpses or even individual fast zombies can't match. It is the hive mind aspect, the sheer wrongness of human bodies moving like insects, that gets under your skin. And the sound design, oh man, the sound design. That chittering, snarling cacophony of hundreds of thousands of zombies all shrieking at once. It is nightmare fuel. On a thematic level, it is doing work that most action scenes don't even attempt. The Fall of Jerusalem isn't just about zombies' overwhelming defenses. It is about the fragility of civilization, about how quickly order can collapse into chaos. It is about the danger of complacency, of thinking you are safe just because you've built a big enough wall. It is about the cruel irony of hope and humanity being our greatest weakness in the face of something that has no humanity left. And on a technical level, which I know I keep harping on, but it matters. It set a new standard for what was possible in visual effects. Other zombie movies have tried to match it. Train to Busan has incredible action sequences, but they're more intimate, more focused on individual survival. The Walking Dead has had huge walker herds, but they've never achieved the scale or the dynamism of the Jerusalem scene. Army of the Dead tried to do large-scale zombie action in Vegas, but it felt more video gamey, less visceral. Even 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later, which arguably created the template for fast, aggressive zombies, kept their action more grounded and smaller scale. World War Z went big, absurdly big, and it pulled it off not through cutting corners or hiding things in darkness or quick cuts, but by actually rendering 250,000 zombies in broad daylight and letting you see every terrifying detail. There is also something to be said about the scene's cultural impact. That image of the zombie pyramid has been referenced, parodied, and homaged countless times since 2013. It has become the visual shorthand for zombie apocalypse. In the same way mushroom clouds are for nuclear war. When people who've never even seen World War Z think about modern zombie movies, they think about that wall scene. And let's talk about the elephant in the room, the political subtext. The movie was filmed in Malta but set in Jerusalem. The wall itself is impossible to separate from the very real, very controversial barriers Israel has constructed. The fact that the scene shows the wall both protecting and ultimately failing to save the city, that it shows Jews and Palestinians and everyone else coming together only to be destroyed by their act of unity. It is loaded. People have debated whether the scene is pro-Israel, anti-Israel, or just using the setting as a neutral backdrop. I think it is more complex than any of those readings, but the point is, it sparked conversation. It made people think about real-world issues even in the middle of a zombie movie. How many blockbuster action scenes can you say that about? So yeah, the Jerusalem scene from World War Z will remain the best zombie action movie scene. Not just because nothing has topped it in the decade plus since, though nothing has, but because it represents this perfect storm of everything that makes action cinema work. Spectacle grounded in character stakes. Technical achievement serving the story rather than overwhelming it. An image so powerful and unique that it instantly becomes iconic. An emotional weight that makes you feel the horror of what you are watching, even as you are marveling at the craft on display. Every zombie movie that comes after it will be compared to it. Some will be better movies overall. Some will have more interesting characters or deeper themes or more satisfying endings. But when it comes to pure visceral, I cannot believe what I am watching: zombie action. Nothing's touching Jerusalem. Not now. Probably not ever. And honestly, I am okay with that. Sometimes you catch lightning in a bottle and you don't need to catch it again. You just appreciate the hell out of it while it lasts. That wall climb, that pyramid of writhing bodies, that city falling in minutes, that is World War Z's gift to zombie cinema. It's one perfect, unrepeatable moment of controlled chaos that reminds you why we go to movies in the first place. To see something we've never seen before, to have our breath taken away, to walk out of the theater thinking, how the hell did they do that? That is the Jerusalem scene. That is why it'll last forever.